the blues. I think it's incredible how I got involved in the guitar at an early age. I learned about the blues first when I first started playing guitar, and I wasn't even playing yet. My twin brother was. He had been playing for a couple of years. And come on in, Jesse. Come sit over here. And Scott had Edward Scott had a guitar called a Gibson Explorer 2. And let me shut that off. And I never got to touch it. He was fanatical about keeping it clean and my early hands off it. But Scott had Craig Shufflebine come over, a good skateboard buddy. And he came from a very musical home. They had a big jam room set up. His brother Chris played the drums, and Stewie Oliver was always over there jamming. And Craig came running in, "Hey, you guys, check it out." And, you know, I remember these long, gangly fingers. He had catcher's mitt hands, but big, long. And he comes in and he grabs Scott's guitar, and he's playing this Rocky Mountain Way intro. And I remember thinking, "Oh, is that cool? What are those?" And he goes, "They're bar chords, man." And I just was so into it. I couldn't believe it. I think it was like the next day, Jeff Gross was out on his stoop. I lived across the street from him in Concord, right down the road from the Shufflebines. And Jeff's out there with his Gibson, and he's hammering up. Ted Nugent, and I remember, oh, gotta learn to play the guitar. And so I never did acquire a guitar, but in high school, when I first started high school, down at the end of the hallway was the music room, and I remember Harvey Larson, a great man, him and Mr. Kaler, musical directors. I'm not sure what their titles were, but anyway, he had these gut string guitars, nylon strings, and he only had a couple, 3, maybe 4, and so I had to get down there quick because everybody that played was down there jamming on them in the hallways. I'm not sure how they put up with it. Probably in the classrooms, that is, they probably closed their doors, but everybody learns from somebody, even the great players. But we learned from each other. We taught each other stuff. I remember playing with the late Don Pulaski, played bass. Chris Johnson, Joe Sorrentino, Paul Burkos. I remember big hair guy come smiling up and, "Hey, Carrie, I'm Derek." And I remember Derek, he sat down and we jammed for a long time. I don't remember what we worked on, but he wanted to learn some things, and I was being taught by one of the best players in the high school. His name was Steve Spellman. I don't ever know what happened to him. He was so good. He was playing Al Di Meola stuff. But anyway, the point I'm making is, my goodness, we all learn from somebody, even the great guitar players today. Eddie Van Halen himself played guitar because he was inspired by other players. And if you're truly gifted, you end up being one of the sensational players on the planet. Eddie was one of those. He came up with his own style and tapping, and because he had a mind for gear, he played with pickups and sounds and amps and circuitry, and to this day, the best guitar tone ever. I really believe that. Who else? Steve Morse from Dixie Dregs. The guys, I went to one of his concerts with Dave LaRue was on bass. I was 10 feet from him, and I remember his rapid fire right hand. It was like a machine gun. He was so quick. He picked everything, and he had this bluesy Western feel, and everything he does is so recognizable. He's, again, a guy that was inspired by many, but came up with his own style. That's just 2 examples. Well, it's Greg Howe. In a world where there's so many shredders, he came in with funk and groove to his shredding and his techniques and vibratos. Anyway, my point is, we all learn from somebody. Here's these licks. I'll shut up. I'll just go over a few of these blues licks. I learned these from Joel Hoekstra, former guitar player for Whitesnake, and who else? Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He toured with them. Jesse, be quiet. This is cool.